All right. It is 7:30-ish on a Sunday night. Means it's time for another edition live in the Man Cave. We are Polk. We are your number one source for high school basketball in the state of Florida, Polk County included. And appreciate y'all tuning in and rocking with us this evening. Got the All-State coach with us. What's going on with your boss?
Happy Sunday, Coach.
Hey, happy Sunday, man. Made it to another one. All-State PG. Maybe tapping in a little later. He got some business stuff he dealing with on the other side of things, but the show must go on, and so we will get her going. Coach, I know you had a eventful evening, so our night, yesterday and day. So I don't know if you got anything in your corner, but if you do, you got it, sir. If not, we will press forward.
First of all, I want to start it off by Go Canes. It was a great experience, being in Tallahassee and being a part of that. But I ain't gonna rub it in your face today, Coach.
It's always listen. I told my better half. Coach. I say Billy D and Tuma and Mike Sears are all hurricanes. So I'll just we went to a show last night and Tuma had called and she was like, "You ain't gonna." I said, "Cause all you doing is calling to mess with my name." I said, I get it for me. I said, that dude don't never call me this time. Like he always sleep this time of night.
He always sleep.
Yeah, so I already know it. But coach, coach, y'all got it. And the thing about it, coach, I ain't even see the game. Cause like I said, we went to see Ed Roberson last night.
Mm-hmm.
And I was getting updates because when I got the tickets, I didn't think it was gonna be a night game. I thought it was gonna be like a 3:30 game. I could watch the game and go to the show, and they changed it. So I didn't see the game. I just saw the updates, and I kept seeing y'all scoring and us not. So but I figured honestly, watching the Virginia game, how Virginia was able to run the ball,
mm-hmm.
and I'm like, and I told Tuma somebody else, I was like, I think I told Mike too. I said the way Virginia ran the ball, and Virginia ain't near as physical as Miami is. We in trouble. I said that last Friday, that we was in trouble. But shout out to y'all. Y'all. It was very impressive.
Coach Norvell pissed down his leg. Score 7-3. It's 4th and 3. And they called timeout. Well, they looked like they was about to run a play, then they called timeout. So I just knew they was gonna punt the ball. And me and my cousin, they Florida State alums, and my best friend, he a Florida State fan, and we know they're from the punt the ball. Coach, they brought the offense on the field. He throws a pick, and we changed the field. Coach, it changed the whole course of the game. You know what I'm saying? Coach, they driving down the field. This is their second drive. They driving down the field on us. No,
yeah, I know that. I saw what they got. We got 3 early, and then I saw like today. I know Freddie Stevenson, who used to play with him, he was saying that, and I saw some other people say we messed up early and we had some chances early, and then we didn't get those. And just
one decision changed the whole course of the game, Coach, and they didn't recover until like mid third quarter when we took our foot off the gas. Like the game was close.
You don't do that. You don't do that at home, though, Coach.
No.
Early.
No. But if you look at the stats, you know what I'm saying, you would think they would have won. But I think Miami did a great job in game management and coming out and putting touchdowns up and not field goals. And then at the end, they were just trying to run the clock out. And Florida State was able to capitalize on that. But the game wasn't as close as it showed. But it was a great game, great atmosphere. That's my first time in there since they did all the renovation.
It's always, and I was telling like my goddaughter, she go to FAM. She in grad school. She went there for undergrad, but she in grad school, and she was talking to my best friend. He was like, she calling him, telling him all these people here and all this, cause I said she ain't never been there when Florida State and Miami was good at the same time in the game in Tallahassee. I said it'd be different when they both good and it's in Tallahassee. So she was like, this is crazy like this. I was like, yeah, win or lose, that's how it is when both teams are actually relevant.
Coach, we rolling the time about 2:00. Couldn't find nowhere to park, Coach.
That's
It was
crazy.
people everywhere. It was crazy. It was
Good
crazy,
deal.
but great atmosphere. I think it was good for the state, for both teams to be ranked, and I think we heading in the right direction with both programs. But Norvell made a critical decision that cost them that game. So
That's tough. That's one thing you don't never want to do as a coach. Let that to be on you. Let that be on you. If we just lose, but they the better team, but we was ready. But for me to make a decision that cost us the game, well, them the ones that keep you up in there.
Coach just punt the football. That's all he had to do was just punt the football.
Just keep two things. And then last week, I was talking to my dad a little while ago. I went down to see him and hang out with him and the fam today. Kirby Smart is great against everybody except Alabama. And it ain't even about Nick Saban. Like last week, you get the points, coach. While we going for it on 4th and 1, you get the points. If you take the field goal instead of trying to go for it on 4th and 1, last week, kind of same thing like you're saying right now. You going for 4th and 3 instead of punting the ball. Sometimes you just gotta not like PC Gridiron, shot PC Gridiron, and not overcoach. Sometimes just kick the ball and play defense. Sometimes kick the field goal and keep playing football. I don't know, but they ain't paying me 8 figures to make them decisions. So,
man, coach, I told some coaches today, some football coaches, because I still consult from the outside, and I told them at the end of the day, I can go to sleep at night if somebody just better than us, but I can't go to sleep at night if I'm the reason why we lose because we was not prepared or I made a decision to mess up the game. So, but
what's up, Franklin?
yeah,
Franklin gonna always introduce him. Yeah, that's the thing. You don't want it to be your fault. That's all. That as a coach, you don't ever want it to be your fault that we didn't win. Like I say, if we not the better team, okay. But me making a decision that directly impacts the game. I mean, it's gonna be decisions all throughout the game. That's just coaching, but a decision that you can hang your head on, like, dang, this happened, and then it was an avalanche effect of what happened after that. Them tough to.
Yeah, for sure. Like after that, we ran off. I want to say like 3 touchdowns for sure. So, but coach, we 3 weeks away from tryouts, coach. We 3 weeks away. So, as a coach, what should I be doing right now? And as a player or team, what should I be doing? 3 weeks away.
I can say this, I guess, now since I'm not officially coaching, but is it really tryouts in 3 weeks? Or we just, I mean, I get what you're saying.
It's tryouts for JV for sure, but
I mean, even with JV, is it tryouts in 3 weeks? Or we kind of, but if we're gonna say tryouts, in 3 weeks, we can't be in the gym, right? So the most we can be doing is conditioning, right? But no, nowadays how stuff done changed. Since you're playing year round, you can be in the gym, right?
If you have games scheduled, you can be in the gym. So if you're a part of a fall league or there's another fall shootout, you can be in the gym.
Well, maybe at this point, is it? I mean, I know people have been playing. Like I know Santa Fe played yesterday. They finished up the fall league with Taylor Athletes fall league yesterday. At this point, 3 weeks in, should we not be playing anymore? If it's an opportunity to go play against other people like scrimmage format, I think that we should be doing that. We got to be in the gym. We got to be. I think we got to be doing something. I don't know. Do you, Coach? I know y'all run a whole program off season. Do you separate weights and conditioning, or you put them together?
I think they go together, but you have to do at least one of them for sure.
Because I'm like, at this point, would it be more about conditioning than the weights? Where if I had to weigh one of them, because we got to be in shape, right? We can't we should have been doing conditioning way before 3 weeks now, but we should really be like real deal conditioning. Got to be part of everything we're doing at this point, because like you said, day one we don't want to come in here and we struggling. We want to hit the ground running officially, even though we should already probably be in that mode. So 3 weeks out, if there's a chance to go and scrimmage someone, if it's a fall league or something, finish it up, then we doing that. But I think I would be leaning more toward conditioning than necessarily weights. But I'm not saying not to do weights, but I do think we got to be in shape because of how we hopefully are going to play. If we're going to be playing up tempo and fast, we got to be in shape to do that. So, but everybody different, coach. Like some people ain't in the gym right now. Some people ain't conditioning right now. Some people believe in the whole go hard in September, or go hard and then give them a little break. And then I've heard that from some coaches. Coach, I saw you about fall out your chair, but some people, we want to give them a break, from it, because we don't want them to be they can't just be doing it all the time. They gotta have a break from it just to kind of so they can recharge and refresh. That's what I don't know if I subscribe to that at this. And the thing about it is, I don't think I could subscribe to it if I was a coach, because I know other people not. And if I'm a competitor, if I'm trying to win my district, I can't be giving my guys 3 weeks off if Lake Wales not giving their guys 3 weeks off, if Arbondale not, if Oak Ridge not, if Tampa Prep not, if people I know that I'm gonna end up potentially seeing not giving their guys time off, I can't give in good faith. I can't give mine time off, even if I thought they needed it and I thought that was warranted. The fact that I'm in a competitive sport, I don't think it will allow me to do so.
I think this is where you have to get in that balance. Like, I think everybody got caught up into playing too early, like saying that yes, you got to be in the gym, but you don't necessarily have to play. And some people play like every weekend, and like every time it was a shootout, people were playing. And I don't think you have to. You know what I'm saying, coach? It's okay to play one weekend and play again, a couple weeks later, but you don't have to be in every one. Basically, what you want to do is just get you kids some experience on the court, especially you still evaluating, trying to figure out what um kids you can count on, things of that nature. But I think we really got caught up into getting on the court too early against competition. Like, it wasn't always like that. It's a good thing that we are able to, but don't get caught up into it too early, where you're playing so much that you get burnt out before the season even start. You know, and you're right, coach. Conditioning is number one. You cannot walk into tryouts or the first week that you can be in the gym and not be in shape, because I don't think you can get in shape in 2 weeks. Because you remember, you played preseason in 2 weeks, coach. That's all you have. It's 2 weeks to get ready for competition, and the season is here. And I don't think you can do that in 2 weeks. So I think it's important to be conditioning, however that looks like for your program, um, because I don't want to take time out of my court time in order to get you in shape. You know
Well,
what I'm
you
saying?
talk
So that's taking time from instruction.
take time from what you're gonna need it, right? So
Mhm.
you talked about balance. So finishing up the magazine. So this week, I'm typing up these schedules and putting them in the thing, so they all look the same. So I was thinking, what? And I'm looking at all these different people's schedules, and so I got to wondering. So I figured I would ask y'all here on the show, what should be, what should go into, how should you go about putting together a schedule? Because looking at 25 teams, I think that's how many teams in the thing in the magazine. I want to say 25. The to me, I'm like, it's interesting to see how different teams put together their schedule when you're looking at all of them, side by side, essentially. So, what is it? How is it? What should the mix be? What goes into putting together a schedule that, and how what should be considered? How do you go? Just what's your input on how that will look? And I just saw a whole lot of different thought processes, and it was no theme, coach. It's probably a theme about, you got like three or four people that you can see a theme. It's like almost like groups. I won't say tiers, but what's your take on that?
All right, so it depends on the dynamics of your program. I When I was coaching on the boys side, I had a dynamic where I had to share athletes, and a lot of my athletes were on the football field. So when I became smarter, it was important for me not to play a game until after Thanksgiving. And the reason why I started that was it gave me an extra 2 weeks of practice time. Because you get 2 weeks and then you play preseason, right? And then usually that Thanksgiving week is probably the first week or so that you can actually start playing games. Back when I was coaching, now it's the week before Thanksgiving you can start playing games, and then people are actually playing games during Thanksgiving. Where I'm to the point now, if you're sharing athletes, I wouldn't play till after Thanksgiving, because say we lose in the playoffs in football, or even if we don't lose in the playoffs, it gives me extra practice time in the gym without interruption, without me worrying about a game or things of that nature. It gives me that extra time with them in the gym. So if you're sharing athletes, I would not play until after Thanksgiving. That's just my philosophy with it. Now, if I'm not sharing athletes, where I got a team full of basketball players, I might have like one or two that's coming from football, then I'm spacing those games out, where I want to get um I want to say really really tough games early, but basically I want to play good programs. Um, but I'm not trying to play the elite. Maybe the first one or two games just to get my kids' feet wet to get ready for like those Thanksgiving shootouts, like the Metro versus um, everybody challenge. I remember when Scott started it, I was actually still coaching, and I actually turned them down because I had like 6 kids on the football field. So what you need to do is figure out what's your team dynamics. How does that make up? Then you need to schedule accordingly. If you have your team coming out the gate, then it's okay to start playing games early. Um, it's okay to be top heavy if you got that type of dynamic to play those games early, and then towards the end of the season, you're not playing 3 and 4 times a week, where you're tired going into the district tournament. Something that I love what Johnny used to do was he never played the week before the district tournament. He didn't schedule any games, and we were able to practice. We were able to conserve our bodies, recuperate, and get ready for our playoff run. And we wasn't, extremely tired because of that. But I've seen teams play, 3 games during the last week, and then go into Mosaic and play 1 and 2 games. Then, coach, they look worn out when the district tournament came, or they look, worn out during the playoffs. And I think as a coach, you got to figure out what type of team do you have, and you got to find that balance where you're not wearing your team out during the season. Scheduling is so important. You got to figure out if you play a really, really tough team one night and then you schedule like a rival the next night, you got to realize there's going to be some drop off, and I just talked about not being a reason why your team lose a game. Coach, that 2012 team, I was the reason why we lost the game. And I hated myself for it, and I couldn't sleep. And we played Bartow on a Friday. The game was on TV. It was on Spectrum. Coach, it was a lot of energy in that gym. You know what I'm saying? We spent a lot of energy that night. And then we had to get up the next morning and drive to Miami and play a really, really good team down there. We ended up losing. And it was totally my fault just from scheduling. You know what I'm saying? It's not like the team was better than us. It was just my fault because I didn't schedule correctly. And that's not what you want to do as a coach.
I just and then you got some coaches that put on their schedule the district tournament date, the regional final date, the state final. I mean, like they got it all about that. You got some people that's got up to the last game. So it's just I just thought it was interesting, like the thought process that, goes into, because coaches have freedom
Yes.
making their schedule. There are no restraints on how they can schedule, who they can schedule. There's not even restraints on leaving the state like it used to be, right? If you can get
Yes.
invited.
There's some restraints. So you can't leave the state more than twice. But what does that mean? Is that you cannot go outside of the states more than twice of the states that actually touch Florida. So you can go to Alabama and Georgia and it doesn't count, if that makes sense. So if you go to Georgia, that doesn't count as an out-of-state trip because it's touching Florida. So the real out-of-state trips is the ones that are outside of Alabama and Georgia.
That's interesting.
And we do that. It came into effect this year because we had to cancel a trip because we got invited to California and Oregon. We had to cancel a big tournament in South Carolina, and we tried to appeal it to Florida high schools, and they said no because if they do it for us, they're gonna have to do it for everybody. So that comes into play when you're doing scheduling.
But what would be wrong with doing it for everybody? I mean, what's the problem with that being? I mean, I'm not asking you like per se as rhetorical. Like we do it for y'all, we gotta do it for everybody. Like, what's the problem with it? It's not any financial thing that the FHSA is gonna have to deal, incur. So how is that bothers you all? Like, and not in nothing about that has a negative impact on y'all. So if it's an opportunity for the kids to be able to have that experience, a lot of them not gonna go to college. That might be the only time they get on the plane or go travel to a couple different states and see something they haven't seen. And so I take that experience from the kids. Even if they say it's approved to do it, people still got to invite you.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just walk up in somebody's gym. So it's not, and everybody, they're not inviting people that don't make sense. And then if they invite you, you got to be able to do it. So if you can't do it, like you can't go anyway. So I don't know that one. That's the no fun. The no fun people. They so good at not being a fun bunch.
Coach, have you looked at the state series schedule?
I have not.
Okay, so I had to look at it. And shout out to McGriff. Also, he reminded me. Coach, this year when you get in the playoffs, each game it's a week between games, Coach. It's a week between regional games.
So you get in the playoffs and they become football schedule.
Yes.
Man.
And I think for one, I want to educate all coaches, players, and fans on that. So if you play, I think for the girls, I think we play on the 20th for the first round of the playoffs, and the next game will be on the 27th of February. Then the next game is sometime in March, and then again we don't play for the state finals until like pretty much that second week in March, which is actually a week later than this past year. And I was wondering, did you know about that, and how do you feel about that?
Well, that makes sense because a couple of those schedules I got from people were that said that had the regionals and the quarter and the state. It was a week, like it was bracketed for a week, but it was week. It was days in between. So it's the Thursday, Tuesday, Saturday format is gone, and I don't understand how you go from having teams play 2-3 times a week and it's basketball to giving them a week a la football. I don't know the rationale. Maybe what like Coach Ambo is saying. Coach Ambo, shout out to you, man, and everybody who went into making the Taylor Athletes Fall League a success. Happy that y'all were able to pull that off and give all the kids, some extra work in the fall league. So shout out to you, JT, and everybody else, Coach Shake and everybody else who was involved in that. But maybe like he said, potential day of school being missed. Maybe they giving that week in between because kids being out of school. That makes no sense to me that you play 2-3 times a week during the season and then you switch in season to a week format. That I don't.
So now that I look at it, the girls will play every Friday leading up to the state tournament, and the boys will play every Saturday leading up to the state tournament. So the first regional game will be on Valentine's Day, the 14th, the 21st, and the 28th. Every Saturday.
Maybe it's a thing to that. So it might be a point to that, Coach Ambo. Missing school, travel during the week. So if I give it to you on Friday and Saturday, then you're not missing school with the travel of having to come back home and go to school the next day or getting checked out early. So instructional time. So that could be it. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but that could be. That's the only thing that maybe makes sense with their rationale with that. But having a whole week in between games in basketball, that's tough. And it's definitely tough when you have been playing 3-4 games a week all year, and then you got to switch up and play one a week. I don't know about that one, Coach. And that's just this year, or that's like one of them things where it's like a 2-year thing and then they vote on it again type of thing.
That's a great question. I do not know the answer to that. But this year there's a week between games.
I wonder that coaches have any like
input
on that. They just sat at their big round table and said this is what we're gonna do and just send an email and that's what it is. Because if they put you at that table and they put McGriff at that table, they put Ampbo or Johnny or Fitzgerald, Blicker, any of y'all going for that? To go from 3 games a week to 1 game? And maybe so. Maybe so. Maybe that'll give you a whole week to prepare, get shots up, get a real good game plan in for that 1 game. Maybe some people that might be something that people would go for. Would you go for that? I mean, would you rather have a whole week?
They'll get pushback from me because I think they're trying to maximize their profit by having it Friday or Saturday. Maybe they can get more people in the gym, maybe. I think it's their thinking instead of during the week. But my thing is you want great competitive games. I mean, it's nice to have a week to prepare, but I may lose my edge because we've been off too long, Coach. You know what I'm saying? It's so much that can happen in that week. Like the last couple of years, we had 2 weeks off before the state finals. You know how hard it was to keep our kids focused for 2 weeks?
I can imagine. I can imagine that's I would. That would be something I would I would be Coach Cable. The state finals is March 5th through the 7th for the boys. And thank you for always supporting Polk, Coach Cable. We sure appreciate you, sir. Definitely appreciate you. But I don't know.
But Coach, you said March 5th through the 7th. I think that's going to be like the lower classes. Then you got the next weekend, March 9th through the 14th.
So you agree with it, TJ? TJ said college kids get a week before a conference tournament. But then if it's conference tournament, you get a week, TJ, but you gonna play all your games that weekend, right? I mean, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. You're going to play. You're not waiting a week between games. You have a week before the conference tournament.
One game in the semis, I mean quarters, a week to play the semis, a week to play the finals. You playing all that stuff that weekend.
Even in NCAA tournament, you don't get a whole week between games.
Yeah, in this format, TJ, you playing Friday quarters, next Friday semis, next Friday finals, next Friday Final Four. Would you have been okay with that back when y'all was at the league? Y'all, man, much as y'all wanted to get that cash, y'all wouldn't be trying to wait the whole week to. All right, well, maybe y'all would have been okay with it. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I don't. That's a.
Because right now for me at Winter Haven, Coach, we make the Final Four. We're gonna play a week between games, and then we're gonna have to wait another 2 weeks before we play in the Final Four, Coach. That's a lot of time off.
That's a lot. I'm sure it's a good rationale. At least I would hope it is. But that's a lot of time off. Coach Apple, I love that. I mean, I think you a couple days in between. I ain't saying back to back. I ain't saying play Tuesday with, but I think a Tuesday Friday, or even a Tuesday Saturday, would be more feasible than one game per week once the district is over with. That's and like you say, Coach, I guess they might be trying to maximize. I would hope that they would be trying to look at the students. That me trying to get them the benefit of the doubt. Okay, we don't want you traveling during the week, missing school. You do it on Friday or Saturday. There's no school being missed. There's no getting in at midnight, and then you got to turn back around and be in first period algebra 1. So I mean, if that's what they at the table, if that's the conversation, then that means you're thinking about the kids first. And I'm totally for y'all think about the kids first, but that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, so TJ sound like you're a proponent of it because you got time to rest and heal, and I mean, but Coach Ambo format will say 2 days will give you time to rest and recover and then watch film. But I mean, in a whole week, you would think that you should know what do they like butter or salt on their popcorn? They coach in a whole week. You ought to know who their sister middle name. It shouldn't be nothing. Nothing should be. So for the team that for y'all, Coach, if I'm an underdog for you all, and the odds are stacked against me, that benefits me because, and it may not matter, right? I could do all that, but I will have more time to put something in place for this one. Because all I got to do is get it right one time.
One time, Coach.
Y'all could be. Remember back in the day, Georgetown and Villanova. If Georgetown and Villanova played 10 times, Coach, Georgetown win 9 out of 10 times. Villanova only had to be perfect one time, and even perfect, the score was 66-64. They only won by 2 points. But it don't matter, right? So if I'm David playing Goliath, then I'm like, okay, give me that week so I can watch this film, so I can do all these scenarios. I can try this on Monday, and if the kids ain't getting it by Wednesday, I can scrap it and go to something else. Whereas in the old format, if it's Thursday, Tuesday, I gotta kind of roll with what I got, right? Especially since I can't practice on Sunday. So to the underdog, that might not be a bad deal if they really good with strategy. That's going. I mean, like I said, it may not matter, but it definitely would give them more. And you with the state, you just never know. the rationale. Like, see, I'm sitting on all these possible scenarios of what they're thinking out there. But you just don't know what Nick said. I think we had.
But the break's not a week though. Like you don't even get a week. Like usually in the Final Four, right? You play in the semis, maybe Friday or Saturday, according to men's and women's. Then the championship game is like Sunday and Monday. You know what I'm saying? You only get like a couple days. You know what I'm saying? And
it's the length. It's not the break. It's the length of the break.
Yeah,
right.
It's the length of the break.
TJ, I totally think it's financial, but I think it's financial. I think it's a money grab. Honestly,
I think it's a money grab because the same finances you're gonna spend on Tuesday and Wednesday is the same finances you're gonna spend to get there on Saturday. But like I said, it maximizes because people may be off. You know what I'm saying? It's the weekend, whatever. You can potentially get more people there.
Do you think that this past year hurt y'all or help y'all? I mean, y'all won it, but did it hurt y'all or help y'all?
I don't like it. It hurts. It's hard to keep those kids focused. It's a longer length of time for something bad to happen. Also, you don't want to go too hard, but at the same time, you got to try to keep your competitive edge. Like a couple times, we had to stop practice because, coach, we had a bloody nose and a bloody mouth one time, and it came from our two best players. Like both of them got hit pretty hard, but like I said, we got to try to keep their competitive edge because we got to make practice tough. Like you can't just sit up there and just shoot around for 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just too long.
Coach, to your point about that, they gotta stay competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Sampson, you might have saw this clip. I saw it last week. He was getting interviewed, and Kevin Sampson always, he just old school. He just gonna say he ain't sugarcoat nothing. He said essentially, you see all these kids, and we've had this discussion on the show too about being in the gym, player development, get skill work and all that kind of stuff. He say anytime that somebody tell him about a kid in the gym getting shots up, skill work, he cringes. He say that don't resonate with him because he say that's 1 on 0. That's you against a cone. That's you against a chair. He's like, when he say cones, this was a quote, cones can't replace humans. And he says, so when are you in the gym? When is it 5 on 5? When are you going at somebody? When are you getting a competitive edge? Because we don't play the game against cones. So that player development stuff, he said, I will always err on 5 on 5 as opposed to player development, that cone stuff, because his thing was cones can't replace humans.
I agree.
What's your take on that?
I agree with him. So even we had this discussion with us because within our coaching staff, it's big on player development and using cones and chairs and things of that nature. And then you get me like getting at my kids like y'all work on all this stuff, and then when we get in front of people, it doesn't resonate. You know what I'm saying? So now we have shifted towards we still do our thing with skill development, but then we end with them going 5 on 5. So now everything needs to relate. Everything that we worked on, now we're going 5 on 5. We need to see that in live action. So you got to get an opportunity to work on those things that you've been working on with them cones and chairs. Now them cones and chairs gonna start moving. You know what I'm saying? So now what are you gonna do? So I'm a proponent. I agree with what Sampson said, but how we have made it work over at Winter Haven with the girls is that we still work on those things, but we give them a chance to work on it against live action.
Against humans.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so y'all kind of have merged it.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So maybe that's the secret sauce to kind of figure out a way to get them both in, because that point goes, that's what took over: player development, skill work, skill work, skill work. You in the gym working on this and you getting shots up, and ain't nobody saying that there's nothing wrong with that. But like he said, like, okay, how you going to compete against a cone or a chair? You can't compete against a cone or a chair, and that's basketball is competition. You're playing against somebody and you're trying to win against other people, not against other cones and chairs. So
And you'll be surprised on how it carries over to other sports, coach. When I was coaching at the college level down at Warner, my head coach was on my O-line coaches behind about the kids not hitting the sled, not hitting the sled, not hitting the sled. And growing up at Lake Wells and going to college, like I always seen an O-line on the sled, coach, and they were driving that thing everywhere. Then we had O-line coach from up north. He was like, Coach, when in the game do we ever hit the sled? You know what I'm saying? So we do our stuff on live people. They're learning to drive against live people. And they went back and forth and back and forth. But when he said that, like, it made sense. Like, Coach, you never against the sled in the game. So
yeah, that's true. And the sled ain't gonna move. People gonna move.
People gonna move. So
it's a great point. That's a great point. It's a great point. So I also saw something else, Coach, and this was a question that was on Twitter. Should there be a limit to the number of times a kid can transfer in his or her high school career? Because the transfer portal is, and it got brought up with the kid from Lakeland, just for football. The quarterback, he started the year at Lakeland, then he lost his job and he left and went to Gaither, but they didn't let him play, so he can't play anywhere. So he left and they wouldn't let him play, but he left clearly thinking he would be able to play, and he came to Lakeland from Tarpon Springs, I guess. He had transferred, so he was already had transferred a few times. So the question was, should there be a limit or a cap to the number of times a kid can transfer, and if so, what should that look like?
I don't think it should be a limit or a cap. I think there should be rules and regulations in place. Like, for instance, only way you should be able to do it during the season, unless it's some type of hardship or something that you can't control. Say your dad, mom, guardian got a new job, you had to move somewhere. That kid should be able to play. Things of that nature. If it's some type of hardship or something out of that student's control, they should be able to play. Not being able to just transfer and playing just because I lost my job, I don't think that's a good enough reason. But being able to transfer like in the off season or before the season starts, I don't have any issues with that. You know what I'm saying? As long as there's some type of rules and regulations that are in place to protect it, I'm fine with it. Because at this point, it's written into law about the kids can go wherever they want to. But the policy is they got to be there day one before tryouts start. So once that season starts, coach, there's got to be some type of hardship, I think. So if they go somewhere else that they can play. I've seen it happen. Don't agree with it. Like kids playing for non-Florida high school teams, transferring to Florida high school teams during the season and able to play and compete for a state championship. I do not agree with that at all. And it happened against us this past year.
What you mean? Y'all won. You talking about the team y'all
win.
Team y'all
did
beat
win.
and
Yes.
Girl. Okay.
Yeah, they were playing at a non-Florida high school team, transferred after Christmas, coach. and was able to play. Like I said, I don't know what circumstances they gave Florida high schools, but that did happen,
Wow.
and they were, you know, a significant part of that particular team. So
But they're not going to change that though.
I don't see it. No,
I that's so what just happened to you last year could happen, period.
hmm I said I don't know the particular circumstances with that. I just know it happened. Actually, I know of it happening with two teams, but I know it happened against me with this one particular team, and that's the team that we played in the state championship. They had a kid on their team that didn't start with them, but finished with them.
And the state just said, okay, all right.
And I knew of another situation where a kid was with another team all the way up to before the district tournament and was able to go to another team and play in the district tournament with another team that won the state championship.
So we're not really into fairness.
Uh,
There's no scenario that's fair though.
I agree. I agree, but I know of another situation that happened here in Polk County where um Kathleen, their girls team didn't finish the season, right?
Right.
Like, so what about those girls that still wanted to play? So one of them transferred to another school in Lakeland, and Florida High School said no.
See, that's the thing with the state that just to me is there's no consistency. Like you can't say yes to one extenuating circumstance and say no, because it's not the girls' fault that the coach they couldn't finish their season. The girls that was there, they didn't. They shouldn't be punished because of an extenuating circumstance. That how often does that happen? You know what I'm saying? That's not like that's a normal every year type of deal. That's a very
hmm
isolated type of incident. And so now they can't play through no fault of their own. Now, it's different if they out there fighting and they don't get, how sometimes one of them years, it was like it was a girls' fight once a week somewhere, right? It was like, God, somebody else fighting. So you in that situation, okay, but I'm playing. I ain't did nothing wrong. I show up to practice. I'm playing, win or lose, and then all of a sudden we ain't got no team and I can't play. I can't play where I was at. If Kathleen had a team out with me trying to go somewhere else. And so what was that? That's an unfair. So has the rule changed since then, or is it just being different people enforcing it now? And that's the
I,
thing. You don't even know, coach. You don't even know because it's to me it's no consistency from the FHSAA, and so it's like you don't even know what to expect. It's like they truly take each situation on a case by case situational basis. It's not like okay, this is just it. Period.
like for example, like Florida High Schools always release their agenda before these board meetings, but I never have seen. If anybody knows, like please let us know how they give like notes or or some kind of transcript on the meeting itself. You know what I'm saying? Like after the meeting, like telling us what happened with some of
Yeah.
these particular decisions. Because I know I was definitely interested about, the Zephyr Hills Christian situation. Like we knew that was going to be on that particular um, agenda of the board meeting, and then we seen a newspaper article on, their punishment. But I really want to see what did they have to say in the particular meeting. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think Florida High School released that transcript at all.
On purpose.
Yeah, I've never seen it, and I went to the website and I was looking for it to see what they say about these particular decisions that they're making.
It's like they just making these autocratic, top down decisions and not really considering who is really affected. That's just my thing. Like, we about kids, and I know that's my thing. Like, it's not about us grown ups. We're here to give these kids the best possible experience from an athletic standpoint. You know what? 90% of them never gonna play beyond high school in
Mm-hmm.
any sport, basketball, football, whatever. So can we not provide the most competitive but fair experience for them while they're in high school, and not lose sight of the kid when stuff happens? That's now, if somebody trying to get over somebody that living foul and slimy, that's one thing. But if it's a truly extenuating circumstance that the child has no fault in what's happening, I think we gotta be humans. To go back to Kevin Sales, we got to be humans and not just just absolute. I don't know. And like I say, me, I'm a little different. Um, I just exactly like Axel went and played ball at Lakeland and went back to McKill for basketball. Back in the
Yeah, he
day,
doesn't have to leave McKill
the
to
big
play
kid.
at Lincoln.
Well, he was still a student. Lakeland didn't McKill didn't have football, so he was able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did have basketball. But a more, I guess, to his point, I guess a more would be was it Beam? Not Beamer. What was his name? Um, what was the big kid from Auburndale that played when they played football at Lake Gilson? They went back to Lake Auburndale for basketball.
I know
He
he's
just,
talking
he
about.
just played. Then he played alumni with Auburndale. Is it Not Beamer? Yeah, Nate. No, is that it? Big Nate.
Yeah,
Yeah, Big
what's his
Nate.
first name? I don't remember his last name.
Yeah, Big Nate Beamer. He played. He went and played football at Gibson, and was able to transfer back and play basketball at Auburndale. So it's like you're showing precedent that you will allow it to happen. So once you say yes, kind of like they gave y'all the raggedy excuse. Once you say yes to one, by their own logic, you gotta say yes to everybody else, right? They
Yeah.
just told you they wouldn't let y'all do it because if they say yes to y'all, they gotta say yes to everybody else. But
Mm-hmm.
on the other end, you say yes to this team, but you said no to somebody like Kathleen who lost a whole program. Like if it's 4 girls left, they shouldn't be like, oh y'all too bad, so sad. They didn't do. They just want to play basketball. They just want to hoop. And what if one of them girls was in position to go go to the next level and she can't play?
Yeah. Like PC Gridiron asked a question about, when that transfer deadline is. Usually it's the first day of tryouts or the first day that the season opens. So technically for basketball, a kid can transfer like 18 million times if they wanted to until the first day of tryouts. So wherever they're enrolled at on that day, they have to stay there unless it's some type of circumstance that prevents that. So
That's crazy. Well, Coach, you just brought up, I guess our last point, Zephyr Hills Christian. That's the news of the week. So you say we was waiting to find out. Everybody knew that Sutton was coming. They took their time to come up with the final thing. But if you had not heard, Zephyr Hills Christian is found guilty, and they got their sentence, I guess, this week, which was it 40? They got a $40,000 fine.
I think it was like each violation, Coach. It was at least 40 for sure. But I heard it was like up to like 120.
So they got the hammer dropped. Zephyr Hills Christian got the hammer dropped on them. If you all remember, they had I saw them in Georgia with who they were supposed to have, and it was clear that something was going on with the people they had because if they had Montverde or Columbus or Sagemont, them type of teams that's what they do. You'd be like Oak Ridge, okay, but Zephyr Hills Christian, nothing about Zephyr Hills Christian was even in that type of lane. So that's what made it so much more obvious before you saw the team, then when you see 6'11", 6'9", 6'6", 6'5", 6'2", 6'2", and can all play at a Power 4, high major, 4-star, 5-star level. You be like, hold on now, this is Zephyr Hills Christian. You're right around the corner from Sefner or Zephyr Hills High School. It's nothing about Zephyr Hills Christian said those type of kids. So even if Coach, I was thinking like, okay, I think they got a little greedy. Because let's just say instead of 7 of them kids that they brought in, you brought in 2, maybe 3. I think it's a chance they could have got away with it, honestly. It's just when they kept bringing them in, you kept bringing spotlight to your school, to your situation. So now you got everybody looking at it because of the caliber of kids that you keep bringing in. So I think if they would have just kind of chilled, I'll let you answer PC Gridiron question. If they wouldn't have did so much of it, I think it's kind of like a thing where people go and break the law and they get away with it. And so instead of them being like, all right, man, I got through this time, I'm just going to chill, they go do it again because they got away with it. And that's how you end up getting caught. So I think they kept doing it because in their mind they had got away with it to the point where they end up getting caught because it was such a spotlight on it because it was so obvious. Like y'all was in Georgia looking like these real deal teams. Like y'all it wasn't no drop off at all. But anyway, you can answer Pete. You can respond back to PC Grid.
No, there actually is no deadline. It's case by case, but they do have to appeal it to Florida high schools and get a ruling from Florida high schools. So they're not able to, transfer in right before the playoffs or in the playoff window without Florida high schools making a ruling on it.
Okay. And Coach Jameson, shout out to Coach Jameson. The GM, is it the GM of the Adult Men's League, the head honcho, the commish, all things Discovery High School. Coach, is it to his question about Zephyr Hills? It was recruiting, among other things, right?
Yes, it was not only in one sport; it was like multiple sports, and they have been banned from playoff contention in all sports for 1 year.
So that's the thing. Kept doing it. You do 2 or 3. All right, we got to chill. Like nobody was like, all right, we got to chill. Like I just don't see how y'all thought that you're going to bring that many high-profile guys in and it wasn't going to raise no red.
Because it was like multiple sports. It was like football, too. They had a kid from another school that had just graduated come over there and playing football. Like the kid had just graduated from another school, Coach.
And like graduated from high school, like I got my diploma and still going to go back and double back?
Yes.
So all the other team had to do was go in there with a yearbook. Man, he ain't playing. Well, yes, he had to go to yearbook. Or coach with a commencement program. He'd go his name in the program. What was he go in the senior class with his tuxedo on? He go into commencement, get graduated, magna cum laude, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, but Zephyr Hill, ain't nowhere in the world that your child thought y'all was, I just, what is, and then at that point, Yeah, Coach. But what we talking about, man? Come on, bro. Like you sit here, you know how they have you coach. Let me get the how they have you, they tell you that they look like you looking back over your shoulder and then you line it up and line up at wide receiver running a 9 route. Come on, man. What we doing, man? And is it that deep? Is it that deep? I guess it is because they did it. Because if you just saw that team in person, you heard about it. But if you just saw that team in person, because them people, them people, they point guard was 6'3". He was a 4-star. The 2 guard was 6'4". He was a 5-star. The 3 the wing was 6'6". He was like top 5th in his class. The 4 was the Bryant kid who I think he committed to Missouri. He 5-star. He top 20 in his class. And then they had a son that was 6'11". And he was 5-star. He wasn't even 25, 20. He a junior. That was their starting lineup, coach. And they could play. Like I'm like, man, this ain't even like this don't even look real. It's Zephyrus Christian. Like I say, Rivera Prep. Okay, boy, they just bringing them in. Calvary Christian. Because that's what they do. That's what they look like every year. They look Calvary Christian look that way every year. Zephyrus Christian, y'all been looking like this, and then all of a sudden y'all up here. Come on, man. Not to mention where they coming from. You know, if you in my school or you in my zone or area, and then people gonna talk. Like I just don't know how they thought they were going to. I just don't know how they thought they were gonna get away with that.
One of the kids didn't help themselves. He was posting about it, like payments and all.
And then they were getting them. Then they were paying them. They were breaking. That's where they really got in trouble because kids was flashing. They weren't staying low key with it. But they tell you, man, once you don't do nothing. What they say in the movies? Don't go spend no money. Don't get all crazy. Just chill till everything kind of blow over. And it's always one. You gotta flex, right? It's always one gotta go to the mall. It's always one that gotta show what he got, and that's the first red flag, and then it's just like it just snowballed. But Coach Bell, can they go back to their local schools? They can go back to the local schools, so they're not going. It's the school that kind of gets banned, not necessarily the kids. So yeah, they can go back to whence they came. Then interesting thing when this was all going on, which made it a little more personal for us in Polk County. We had one of our kids that one of our top 20 he was one of the top 28 kids in the state. He left Santa Fe, Ethan Knox. At first he went to North Tampa Christian, and then you got news that he ended up at Zephyrus Christian. So I'm interested if he what's the grind session? That's interesting that he decided to go over there. So I wonder if he still go or what he does. So what's the grind session, Coach? You know what that is?
No, it might be some type of league like overtime or something.
Yeah, like OTE. So yeah, neat. You gotta flex, right? I gotta show you. What's the point of them paying me, giving me a couple stats if I ain't gonna let you know they gave me a couple stats? Like that's like to these bulls, it's pointless. You might as well keep it. If I can't flex and let you know I got it. If I can't get on what they get on IG, Twitter, they don't, whatever they do. I know they don't get on Facebook, but
it's some type of elite tournament.
Okay, so it's something like they're trying to do OT like type stuff.
Yeah.
Who funds? That's a good question. Who funds them? PC Gridiron, but that's what I was wondering. Like, who is it that they got that's putting that type of money toward paying these kids? Because once again, it's Zephyrus Christian. Like, I ain't knocking Zephyrus Christian, but it's Zephyrus Christian. It's being under. I mean, that's a good. I don't know what Ethan's gonna do. I guess he can go back to North Temple Christian. He just can't play because he technically didn't play with Zephyrus Christian, so he ain't did nothing with him. They just did a graphic and said that's where he was going. So it'll be interesting to see where he landed. That's a good point because he definitely can't be there. So do you go back to North Temple Christian? And I know that coach is kind of got in trouble too. The coach that was
Yeah,
at
he got 90 days.
yeah, so he got banned too. So
But my thing is like if they choose to play like a independent schedule or SIAA or something like that, does he have to sit out? You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Maybe their schedule is not playing Florida high school teams.
yeah, I think that's a good point. I think that's they only out of FHSAA stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They can't sanction them just to play if they go play in another league. And if I'm SIAA or independent, I would love to have them, right? Because all them kids that they got, that multi squad they got. So
Yeah, and you
I
have
would love
those teams
to.
everywhere, like Southeastern Prep, um, West Oaks, teams like that. So you got them Oldsmar Christian, you got them
Yeah,
everywhere.
that might be what they need to pivot and do, and maybe that's what they're gonna do. Because maybe that's why he went over there after. Because I know they had to hear that they was under investigation.
Yeah, and
Um,
that tournament that Coach JT just mentioned, that grind session tournament, is elite teams that they having during the winter, during the elite high school team. So it
and
makes sense.
that's like a league.
I guess so, but it's some type of elite high school tournament that they're having. I'm gonna send it to you.
Okay. I mean, I agree with that. If Knox is, I mean, we still think. At least I know. I still feel like Santa Fe is gonna get there. I mean, even with, I think it's not gonna be easy, but I think they have a legit chance to get back. But yeah, if they got Ethan, then yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot if he stays that they get back, and they I don't know if they can win it, but with him they would have a shot with who they got coming back and how they play with each other. I mean, that'd probably be perfect for them though, PC Gridiron, because yeah, they how they moving. They don't need no law enforcement. That's the point. That's why they got banned. They don't need no enforcement. How they operate. They slick with it. But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna keep the squad together at this point, that's the only way you can play, because you can't play with nobody else, right? You can't play in no other league or group. So they would have to do it that way. I never heard of grind sessions, so I'm gonna check. That's interesting. Check that out. So, but yeah, so y'all. So just so you know, Zephyr S. Christian got the helmet dropped on him. So I don't know if, but it's like it was something that we knew was coming, right?
Mm-hmm. You
It was
just
just
didn't know what,
yeah, it
but
was
we
just
knew it was coming.
so well. So coach, you say 3 weeks out. This is the first week of October, right?
Yes,
Second week
sir.
of October, second week of October, first week of October. So we've been in school 9 weeks at least, right? And so you should
Almost.
be
I think
almost
this is the last
9 weeks,
week.
almost 9 weeks. And so by now you know who you got and who you don't, right? You know
You,
you ain't got no surprise. Are there surprises still in this 3 week window, or is it pretty much all right? This who I got. This who we going. This who we going in with.
it should be no surprises, but it wouldn't surprise me if we have some movement before the first day of trial. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
But yeah, my hat goes out to coaches nowadays, because I've been working with you all spring, all summer. They'll put you on the road and put you in front of people all fall, and then a week before we start, you leave, and there's nothing I can do about it. Like nothing I can do about it. There is nothing I can do about it. There's nothing in place to stop it from happening. You can just decide, all right, I'm gonna get one more shot over here than I'm getting here, and I'm gone. I
Yeah,
just that is a severely broken system.
coach. I hear some people unhappy with their roles in their program, so it wouldn't surprise me at all
It ain't, but coach, is it even about programs for some of these kids nowadays? Like you're trying to establish a program, a way things are going to be done, the expectation level. How many, if you had to put a percentage on a roster, what percentage would you say of kids on that roster that cares about that? How much say, man, I don't care about you trying to be no pro. How many would you say care? Like, okay, I see what you're trying to do, coach.
I think it's lower than 50%. I
And
don't think I don't think they see that. They're looking for the individual type stuff.
that's what I'm saying. They can't see, like Coach Nick said, that social media got them where they could care
Yeah,
less about a program. I care less
it,
about
it ain't about
plyometrics and
playing for the school or
oh man.
rivals or none of that.
Cause the thing about it is, if I was going to leave, I would at least have a decency. I wouldn't hit you with it at this point. I'd have been gone by now. Just out of respect for the fact that you was working with me spring, summer, took me to all these things in the fall. I wouldn't do you like that because at this point I should have enough respect for you for trying to help me that I ain't trying to hurt you, even if I'm making a decision not to be a part of your team anymore. But like I say, kids don't think that way. They don't think past what
Coach, I just hope they have the decency just to tell the coach. Some people are going and not saying anything. You
coach
know what
find out.
I'm
Coach find out when it's a markup on social media. Yeah,
saying? That's crazy.
with the AGTG tweet. All glory
Man,
to God. Just want to say thank you to my mom, everybody who believed in me. And, bro, why are we having all these type of dedications when you in high school transferring to another school like this? But these 3 years have been great, and I'm always gonna be love it. But from a senior year, my last year, this is what I'm gonna do. Like, man, that's when. And so as I'm reading it, as Polk sharing it, coach like, well, dang, we've had a couple coaches, coach, that found out when we posted it. When we say we can confirm and now post, which means we've been new about it, and you just not seeing it on our page, and like, well, hold on, when is it? Now you calling and asking questions like, how in the world is it breaking news to you? It shouldn't be breaking news to you, just like it wasn't breaking news to us. We just, out of courtesy and respect, we just wait before we post stuff, because we ain't on that clickbait stuff. But you as a coach, how you sitting there in Lake Wells and don't know your kid gone? How you don't know your kid gone until you open up your phone and it scroll and it's on your timeline from Polk? How don't you know that? That right there, coach, is a red flag. Because if I don't know all my personnel, coach, at this point, to your original question, I should know all my personnel. I should know what they can do well. I should know what they can't do well. I should know where I'm playing them at, how many minutes I'm expecting to get out of them. Whether they a hothead or not, whether they can rotate on this press. Like, can I press when they in the game? Can I run my motion offense when they? I should know all that 3 weeks in, coach.
But you have to, because now those roles are defined. Like, you don't have ample opportunity to prove to me that you can do this, that you can take these many shots, that you are a lockdown defender, that you deserve this amount of minutes. You can't. Now it's going to be difficult to gain that trust from me during the season. Like, this is your tryout during this time.
That was my point. Is to try it that first day. You've been trying out since we've been in the summer and since we've been in the fall.
Because in the end, I'm gonna play who I can trust in these situations. How have you proved that? And coach, don't say you don't have the opportunity. Coach, you got high school shootouts starting in June. You got summer league in June. You got live period in June. You know what I'm saying? Then you play with your AAU teams in July. But coach, we got shootouts starting in August now. People are out here playing in August. So again, you had August, September, and some of October to prove that you are the man on this team and to take these shots. You have proved that you're the best defender on this team and you earned the assignment of guarding their best player. You have proven to me that when the game is in the clutch, that I can trust you out here on the floor.
I can trust you.
You know, that you're not going to do something stupid to hurt this team. Now, coach, it's harder now to prove that now that the season is here. Coaches are going to go with who they can trust. You know what I'm saying? And I get tired of, seeing posts by people talking about my kid didn't play, coach showing favoritism, this, and this. But did your kid earn this when they had the opportunity to? You know what I'm saying? But now it's the coach fault that they're not playing. Sometimes it's not always the coach fault.
Coach, that be so funny to me because what coach is not trying to win? You coach to win.
You coach
and
to
so
win.
so I'm going to have somebody on the bench that can help me win, and I'm not going to play them. That totally contradicts anything about a competitive sport and the coach that's involved with it. Like, what? Ain't no coach keeping their best players on the bench. They're playing their best guys because they're trying to win. So if they're not playing your child, and this is not, sexy, but there's a reason more times than not.
And I can promise you this, it's not because the coach don't like your kid. It's definitely not that.
Because the coach don't like your kid. Like, I mean, even if the coach don't like your kid, they not trying to lose. And if your child can help them win, they're going to figure out how to get them on the court and still try to win. Like, who, I just don't, no coach is keeping their best kids on the bench and they're trying to win. That I just don't subscribe to that. Let's see what Coach Starr said. Let's understand the movement also concerned. I do agree, Coach Starr, that this generation of parents is different. That's probably the most profound thing you said in all that post. And I'm not speaking for all parents, but in my experience, and more today's parent, there is a lot more entitlement and protection. I don't know if protection is the right word, as opposed to helping your child with accountability. Like, if you are not playing, okay, what are you doing? Why is the first thing not, okay, what you doing? Why are you not playing? What's going on? What's going on in practice? And why is it not that, as opposed to, or they showing favoritism, they ain't playing my child? Why is our first refrain favoritism as opposed to why you're not playing? Does that make sense? Like, Coach, our first thing ain't, okay, what you did? Why ain't you playing? As opposed to, oh, they tripping. Let me get that. Let me go to the blue app and call favoritism. That's what we do, Coach. We go to the blue app and we saying that from the Raptors. It's always what the coach has done, and you ain't been to, and this ain't gonna be sexy either. You ain't been to one practice, and you ain't had one conversation with that coach. Instead of saying, okay, well, let me see what's going on. Let me see if I can set a meeting up with the coach and just talk about it. I immediately say it's favoritism. That's the first refrain. So we're not even verifying. I know that's our child, but it's our child, right? Mm-hmm. My child wouldn't lie to me. Yeah, they probably wouldn't lie to you, but they at this school lying their butt off. Like I can't tell you what they would do. Um, I can't tell you what they would do when they're with you.
Mm-hmm.
They're with you, but I'm telling you, these 7 8 hours that they here with me, I'm telling you what they're doing here. I can't tell you what they do in your house. I don't live in your house. I don't run your house. So why is it the first thing not to get some verification on that which your child is saying, as opposed to going to the app and saying favoritism? So now let's just say the coach, whatever. Once the coach sees you saying that, what you expect? How do you expect that to be in the gym with that coach? Once you done went to the social media calling them out like that, how you think that's going to play out for your child after that?
It's not. It's not gonna be helpful. Not gonna be helpful at all.
Yeah,
And like I said, it's a tough conversation, but it's a needed conversation. And coaches, we have to have those honest conversations when a parent asks for it. Like, hey, you know what can my child do, or what is my child doing? You know what I'm saying? Not to have a bigger role, or not to, whatever. And you got to be able to have those tough conversations. Now, like you said, that's not sexy. You know what I'm saying? But
I wish I would have
no,
went home saying coach tripping, and I wish I'd have went home saying that, much less expecting it to be like I'm finna we finna blame the coach. Like, man, please, what you doing? You better get in there and you better get your butt in there and figure it out. If you don't want to be on the bench, cause Coach, but we said let me shorten that game and you on the bench. Okay, you better figure it out for y'all play.
hmm
So it wasn't no. Them was quick conversations, or they were non conversations. I know I ain't what I'm think I'm finna get from the house, but these, like you said, these kids. And the thing about it, coach get on them in practice. He'll put them in a scrimmage. They get they locker room, they locker and get that phone out, and before they even get home, the parent already done on 20, and I ain't gave the coach a chance, and the coach may be like, yeah, I just ain't playing your child, but you ain't even gave the coach a chance. You ain't gave the coach a chance, but you want the coach to give your child a chance, but you ain't gave the coach a chance. Make that make sense?
like I
Anyway,
said, as an adult, so, we got to be able to handle things properly. And sometimes, like you said, going to an app pressing sin is not the proper way. You know what I'm saying? And like the situations that we just talked about, a coach finding out on social media is crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? Be man or woman enough to go to them like, hey, coach, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate this, but it's another opportunity that I'm pursuing. You know what I'm saying? I get on my kids. Like, even though I have really good relationships with them, but I tell them, especially when it comes to like college recruiting, I don't want to find out about it on social media. I need to know about it beforehand. And they'll tell you that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, coach. I still think it's our job to properly teach kids how to handle situations correctly. And because of phones and technology now, they avoid those tough conversations. They avoid handling those things the right way. Um, and I'm fortunate and happy that I had on the people in my life. Like, hey, look, it might not be easy, but be man enough to do it the right way.
do it the right way. So, and now, Coach Jameson, that's different. If coaches out there promising stuff that they can't, and then they don't fulfill it, then that's a different scenario. So if you promising the kid and parents that they're gonna get clocked, and then they don't get clocked, then yeah, you done created. In that case, that's on the coach, because you created that illusion that was going to happen, and it didn't happen. So that's on you to explain why the kid not getting PT. If that's the whole set, that was your whole selling point.
But
It's
coach,
supposed
why
to
would
happen,
you do that as a coach? What if they get over there and they trash?
and they trash.
you don't promise them a starting position. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, and then they gonna tell it, right? Because that's what you said.
that's what
You
you
didn't.
said.
You
You don't
said
put
it.
yourself in
You
that
didn't say. You
standpoint.
didn't say if you are no matter how you play. You didn't say, I wasn't gonna start even though I've been beating the wall up with these bad passes. So I got all these basketball smudge marks on my wall. But
Mm-hmm.
you ain't say that. You said I'm starting. You said I'm starting. So that's on you, like you said, to do your research. That's on you to know that I can't go left. That's on you to know that I may score 15, but the guy guard me score 18. That's on you. Like,
But
so
coach, I put up 20 a game at a STEAM academy, coach.
yeah,
I deserve this time.
Team Academy. Yeah, you come over here. You can't even daggone dribble two. You can't even two dribble, crossover, two dribble. You definitely can't. You can't get. There's no pressure. And man, please, you can't run an offense. You don't know what a rotation is on defense. You don't know what cut off the baseline means. You don't know what head the hoop is. Like, what you doing? You don't know one pass away. You don't know none of this stuff, coach.
No. But
You know,
but I do agree with Coach Jameson with that. Like, please, coaches, don't be promising these kids stuff, trying to get them to come over there, and then that situation don't come out. That's a situation that you created, and you're gonna have to deal with that one.
it's a monster
You
you
know what I'm
created. You deserve whatever you get. In that case, Coach Jameson, they deserve what they get because no coach should be promising a kid and parents playing time or promising them something like that. Because you know what they tell you, you not even they don't even want in a perfect world, parents, if you got an issue, you're not even supposed to talk to your coach after the game, and the only thing you can really discuss is what, playing time or not discuss playing time. I forgot what it was, but there's a time and a place for it, first of all. But that should be the discussion then, not bringing them in the door, you know. But if I tell you you're gonna play, you're gonna start for me and you're a point guard and you terrible, you can't beat the press and you turn it's like a hot tomato in your hand. I can't keep playing you if I'm trying to win. So, but coach, you told me I was starting. Bro, you turned the ball over 7 times a game. But coach, you told me I was starting. Bro, your guy
saying?
bro, your guy get those people clearing out the side when they see you, man. Barbecue chicken. The coach, you told me I was gonna start. That's what stuck in there. And to mama credit and the child credit, that's what you said.
That's what you said.
So you said it. So no matter how bad I am, you told me I was gonna start. You told me I was gonna get these minutes. You told me I was gonna be the PG. You ain't tell me it was contingent on if I could play at the same level in District 6A7 as I did at the STEAM Academy. You ain't tell me that. You said I was starting. You said that was my job. So yeah, they definitely deserved that one. And sadly, that's what the transfer portal got coaches desperate. They got coaches desperate to compete. So you selling people a dream, then it ends up being a nightmare, and you don't want to be stuck with it. Well, you stuck with the nightmare because you the one you inserted yourself into it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a good point, coaches. Coaches, don't put yourself in that hole, in that rabbit hole, and then you can't fight out of it because of what you done said and what you done promised. That's a sad day, coach, when we got coaches that are promising kids and parents playing time to get them to come to their school. That is do you hear how that sounds? That's we in bad shape, coach. And I know it happens. Probably more in football than basketball, but I know it happens. So we're in bad shape, man. That's tough. That's tough. But anywho, man, we appreciate y'all tuning in, hanging out with us, man, talking hoops. Great energy in the chat, man. Appreciate everybody that's giving good commentary and good conversation, man. That's all we do, man. We try to have good conversation, kind of talk about things that's going on in basketball and in life in general, and get some insight with you all's help. and hopefully we can help some kids and programs along the way. We've been fortunate to be able to do that, so we appreciate y'all. Before we jump off, man, this Friday, if you plan or would like to advertise in the magazine, the Polk magazine that'll be out shortly, you got your Friday to get your information in to support the kids and the programs and just us in general. Very excited for the second run of this one. Last year was pretty dope for us to see it actually happen. Hold it in your hands, and so we're looking forward to even bigger this year. Coach Blicker. That's why they come, coach, and they don't leave. That's why, coach, you coaching them hard now.
That's what made me laugh.
Yeah, you coaching them hard. That is no true statement has been said.
Definitely fulfilling that promise, Blackbeard.
Yeah, you ain't lied on that. Okay, nobody lie and say that ain't happening. But the thing about the funny thing about it is they appreciate it. Them kids want to be coached hard, man. Kids, well, yeah, that's a slippery slope, coach. Most times
they don't leave.
Let's say it that way. Most times they don't leave because they appreciate. And then sometimes, like you say, it's a human element. So sometimes it's extra humans involved, and that makes it tough as well. Which that's unfortunate. So, but yeah, promising stuff. Just if y'all didn't get none from tonight, coaches, if you watch this live or you go back and watch it, please don't put yourself in a situation where you promise something. Unless you got your 5-star mega star that but at that point you would have to promise.
But what if they trash? What if they come over there and they trash? They don't fit in your system.
Yeah,
but you don't promise them this
because it's different, right? It's different. You got to mess with your team. You got to mess with this new system. Everything is new. It's not STEAM Academy is not going to be the same as blank high school. It's just not. So what you did over there may not resonate. You was a 2-guard over there at 6'3", 6'4" over here. For us, you're going to have to play on the block a little bit because you 6'4", 6'5", you the biggest thing we got. Like, that's just the reality. We're undersized. So knowing that stuff going, and so you telling me I'm a 2-guard. Well, yeah, I told you it's a 2-guard, but yeah, we got these other people that's that we're trying to win, and we got to put ourselves in the best situation, and we got to match up with people too. So anyway, once again, man, thank y'all. So you got that Friday deadline if you want to put an ad in the mag, and just thankful to be able to continue to put stuff out there. Put stuff out there for you all, just content and just conversation and just promoting and shining the spotlight on everything basketball, specifically Polk County. And that's true. And Bartow ain't for everybody, Santa Fe ain't for everybody. Everybody can't handle that adversity. That's the key word of that is adversity. Because with a tough schedule, you're gonna be getting adversity multiple times. It ain't gonna be like once a week. It's gonna be like every game, twice a week. 5-10 times in a game. So everybody.
You seen us in action. You seen us play against some tough competition. LBD is not for everybody. Everybody not gonna thrive for that type of schedule that we throwing against them.
And so they got places. What they got places for you. What STEAM Academy? They got STEAM Academies for you. If that's what y'all. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Anyway, man, y'all enjoy it, man. Thank y'all for the night. Good conversation as always. Y'all always give us good energy. Once again, shout out to Coach Blicker for his Fayway tournament yesterday, giving kids a chance to compete. Also, Coach Ampbo and JT James Taylor and Coach Shake for giving kids a chance to compete over there at the Fall League. So And is the Heritage League done yet? Are they still playing? I think they play on Mondays. They if they're not done, they're getting close. So still got at least one fall league going as we are getting closer and closer to the official start of the 25-26 school year. So we're excited, as we always are. So hopefully everybody in the week, and so 2 more weeks. So if you still got your basketball fix, they got some good action on Monday nights at the Heritage League. A lot of good competition over there. So y'all pull up and support the kids and the teams, as we always say. And Coach, anything you got before we jump off? Anything else?
No, sir. You hit it with the magazine, so we're good on this end.
Okay. So tomorrow, Victory versus Santa Fe. JV tomorrow night at Heritage, and they got a couple other guys. I know Lakeland over there playing. It's 3 games, and then next week they play. They got the playoffs, so they play tomorrow night, and they got the playoffs next week. So if you still want to go watch some basketball, if you're still just a basketball junkie like we are, Heritage will be your spot tomorrow and next Monday, and then after that, be ready to get in the gym and get her going. And then the tip-off class is a couple weeks after that. So we almost hit, y'all. I know it's been a little drought, but it ain't even been a drought, Coach, because they keep playing.
They keep playing, Coach.
You can't even say it's a drought. Yeah, you can go watch Coach Bear. Just go to Heritage. It's open to the public. Open to the public. Yes, sir. It's not even saying that. I guess you're just gonna officially be going, but you've been playing, you've been in the gym, you've been at camps and shootouts, so it's year round now. So, but we closer to the official start. We'll say it that way. So, all right, man. Well, y'all be good this week, man. Y'all be safe. Stay low key, stay out the way. And Polk, we appreciate y'all. So next time we out. Thank you.